them come. This is their fate.
All right. Get my Birdman hands in there. All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay. Here are my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. Today we got a lot to talk about. Not really a lot, but we got a lot of stuff to catch up on because we haven't talked in a while. As you guys have probably noticed, we didn't have a podcast last week simply because Jalen and Joshua had a meet up in real life. You know, this podcast is done over Discord, if you didn't know. So they, because Josh sits in Japan, but they were able to meet up, have some fun, and at that time they were still traveling. So unfortunately, we couldn't get the pod out last week, but we're here this week to make it up. And we got some stuff to talk about. But before we get started, per usual, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you've been up to, what you've been doing, how's life going, what you've been playing, and how was Japan? Together, I guess, because I know, Josh, you already over there, so you already know what it is. How was Japan, Jalen?
It was cool. I mean, it was my third time going, so I'm gonna be completely honest. That feeling of euphoria, it wasn't fully there because I've been there a couple of times. Although it is good to see my homeboys and travel with just travel and stuff like that. So my boy Jay, I ain't seen him in maybe like a year or two. He went to Western with me. He is over there. I ain't seen Josh in like a solid year. Got to see him. I know he'll be the most happy to see us. You know, y'all be making me mad, man.
I seen him still had that quarantine mask on. I said, "Oh my goodness, not again." He said, "I want to smile for y'all." I said, "Jesus." I get it though. We ain't cool like that. We just cool over the internet. Not in real life. He said, "Real life, you suckers, get away from me." Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But yeah, no, I was cool though. So I pick up on some of the things about Japan. Things that might bother me, and all those sorts of things. I start to see like everything, like from not just from a euphoric aspect, but just like more grounded reality. So I still enjoy my time. Definitely was the best time I had over there. I think part of it is because I have like more money to spend and stuff. You should have seen how much I was passing on my card every time Josh turned around. I'm buying something.
Oh my goodness!
Take my money.
Take your money.
Man, this dude buying something again, man. I'm like, man, just take my money, bro. We ask questions later.
Take my money.
It ain't worth it. I'm in Japan. Who cares? Take it. Right?
That's funny.
And he said, "I'm big in Japan."
Oh, that's a bar right there, sir.
I was gonna say, I think we had a lot of fun this time just because we spent most of our time in one place in Tokyo. Even though Tokyo is very big, we didn't actually. I guess I've been to Tokyo a handful of times, but never like a very long time, and it's hard to, I guess, grasp how big like each like neighborhood in Tokyo is. Like Shinjuku and Shibuya themselves are like bigger than some like cities, so we end up spending a lot of time in those areas. One, because there's a lot of stuff there, like a lot of restaurants, a lot of clothing stores, big train stations that connect to a lot of places. But like Shinjuku, I feel like we spent most of our time just like trying to walk through the area or like navigate the trains there. I feel like I end up like grasping it closer to the end of our trip, like getting used to the trains and getting used to the life there. I feel like Jalen did too, because y'all were getting around pretty quickly by ourselves as well. But I had a lot of fun there. The weather wasn't that great. Like the first day, it was kind of windy and cold. What was it, like 50 degrees, Jalen? Yeah, and then the next couple days, we had some rain. For like one day, though, it was really, I guess 1 or 2 days, it was really sunny, and it actually got pretty humid. So those days, I guess, were good because I was able to get some pictures on those days We saw like the cherry blossoms actually blooming. I got some pictures over there.
Okay.
So overall, it was a pretty good mix of like uh weather situations. Wasn't too bad the whole time, not too hot, not too cold the whole week.
Do
Um,
you prefer? Because I guess I had a question in regards to like countryside Japan versus the big city. I said, what do you guys? I guess I asked you, Jay. Like, I mean, Josh, because I know you've been both sides. Vacation wise, which one do you prefer?
I think it depends on what you in the mood for. I think once you've been to the big city a lot, there's always stuff to do, but it always, involves like spending money.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the mood to shop or not in the mood to go to tourist spots, it's harder, I guess, for me at least, it's harder to find stuff to do. Like, I kind of just want to chill out if I'm in the big city. Whereas the countryside, those places are not there's not as much going on unless you like nature, you like to go on hikes or you want to go to the beach, whatever. But I feel like in the countryside areas I've been to, there are some really good like hotels or resorts or onsens that you could
Oh,
like spend money on, and it's not actually not too expensive, and get like an all included like relaxing vacation. Um
gotcha.
like there's a place I've been to with my wife out in the mountains in Kyoto, where it's like there's only one train that goes out there. There's nothing there. There's no restaurants, but the hotel that's there is really nice. You have a private like onsen, which is like a jacuzzi in your room, and your room is like a little like a one bedroom house, and there are other rooms in the area, but they're shaped like houses. And then you
Mm,
can go to the main onsen, which is like a bigger pool. It's out in the middle of the mountains. It's really nice, feels really good, and it's not that expensive. But like that's like a resort, like getaway type thing.
gotcha.
Whereas the big city, I feel like yeah, you're doing more, especially in Tokyo. You always gotta wait in line. Um, you spending money. It's gonna add up pretty quick. But I think a mix of both will be good for a vacation.
Yeah, I would think so. Just having like
Yeah,
both sides of that, kind of like being able to um take take a tour of locations and kind of come back to the resort to relax versus going to a location and staying in that location and kind of using the amenities of that location to kind of try to relax as well. I think that worked out best because when we took other trips to like St. Lucia and other places, we kind of had a resort. We were our base front basically where we can relax, and then when we went out to the city, we were able to explore and then come back to that. So I
yeah.
do think that
One
would
thing I
be the
will say
most. Yeah. Go
for
ahead.
y'all is I was thinking about it like this trip. It might have been too much for a whole family with two kids. As much walking and much train travel we did,
Yeah.
because like
No. Yeah. Yeah. I know.
like the trains in Tokyo, like they are like sardines in there, and having luggage and like a baby stroller and stuff is like we probably gonna have to wait here like and miss the next two trains in order to maybe find a spot on the third train. And so
Gotcha.
what you mentioned before is like having like a more travel plan focus where you got transportation options, or whether it's like a bus or a taxi or your own car or rental car or whatever. That situation might be better for a family. And now that
Yeah.
we've done it like with just one baby, it was a lot. I mean, we still were able to do it, but I feel like I'm more used to walking around Japan. But yeah, if the kids are in a bad mood, that's gonna make your travel a big problem. So I think
Yeah.
y'all had the right idea of wanting to do it more. If you're gonna be in the city, you're gonna be paying for the trip to have everything included. That seems like a better option. Um,
Yeah. No, that's the thought, and I was thinking of okay, maybe not landing in Tokyo, but like or maybe not staying in Tokyo, but visiting Tokyo again, or visiting like more populated areas, but having ability to get back to a place by the end of the day. Like I don't want to. I have to find somewhere where it's a little bit more. I don't know, and because Tokyo is kind of far, you know, it's like that's another. I think what I forget how long it is, but I know that some places we're gonna have to maybe just stay somewhere and then come to like to grips with just not being able to get to like the things we may want to see, or maybe like staying in the area that has the Nintendo Land or whatever, something like that. So where we kind of get that, but maybe travel to the countryside then come back. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the best route for all of that when I was thinking about it, and like that junk started to get taxing, so I was like, I can't do it this time.
Tokyo,
but next time.
Tokyo's really big, and if you're like coming outside into Tokyo every day, that might be like not good for the trip because we spend like an hour commuting every day, which is gonna be a problem. So if you know, and I'm not necessarily to say you got to go to Tokyo, but let's say you do stay in the city somewhere convenient, and then maybe take a trip out for 1 or 2 days, versus if you want to come somewhere to the west side of Japan and like Kyoto, where it's a lot smaller and quieter, spend time there.
That might be the biggest speed for the kids anyway. That might be more their speed because it's just slower.
Yeah.
So.
Because in Tokyo, every restaurant, every store was packed to the brim. You waiting in line.
I remember.
Even on the street. Even on the street.
I was super surprised I decided to go back because I remember Ria Karita said it very distinctly. Never again. We never come back. And I remember that. And but I mean, I knew that you guys were like. I figured you guys were going to be traveling light, and honestly, I didn't expect Mira to go because I thought y'all was going to be, you know, traveling about really, really quickly, especially into Tokyo. So I commend you for even giving that a shot because that is tough. I already know it's going to be super tough with the twins, so I want to make sure we go right, and I still want to try to coordinate something, but we'll figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
But okay, I don't want to take up too much time on Japan, but I'm glad you guys had a good time. Glad you guys were able to see each other.
It was fun. We did a lot of shopping, did a lot of walking around. Jalen got some good TikTok content in Japan. So he gonna have to plug his TikTok at some point on the podcast. And, I mean, if y'all still got the app downloaded, you know, but it's on Instagram too. Everybody had fun. It was good to see Jalen and his brother.
Yeah.
And one of Jalen's friends came as well. Everybody was cool. We had fun together. Mira was a issue. She was grumpy, probably not getting enough naps on the trip, but she cooled down once we got home. But yeah, she was showing out. I was like, hey, I'm gonna leave with Jalen for the day. He gonna babysit, and me and mom go hang out.
Yeah, he's trying to hang with y'all.
It was fun. You got to come next time, or next time I come to the U.S. We hang out there.
Yeah. Either way, for sure. But okay. Well, really, I didn't do much. I got trapped by what's this game called? It's a card game. I think it's called Balatro. I put 20 hours in that game. Didn't even realize it. But yeah, I was just playing the card game, learning how to play poker, and it's fun. It's a fun game. It's kind of like a endless loop because you're playing. It's like Hades, but with cards. You just kind of try to build your run, and you try to beat the dealer with all these random jokers, but you also playing like poker at the same time. That's pretty much all it is, but I'm getting, you get 6 hours or 7 hours on the Steam Deck of just playing this light game. I'm going to sit there and play it, and I was just having a good time with it. But that game, I feel like it was a breakout hit. I remember seeing it elsewhere before I picked it up. I think it's like $10 right now. But yeah, it's a good game. overall. But I was playing that when I should have been playing Final Fantasy or Dead Island. I wasn't playing either one of those. I started to play Balatro. So that was most of my time that I had extra. Went to that game, and then I started to play Fallout 4 again because that the show was just really good, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I was playing a little bit of that, and I think that's pretty much it. Balatro and a little bit of Fallout, which I'm gonna kind of get into that as well.
Elytra I heard good stuff about.
Yeah,
I haven't
cool
even played it yet, but first I heard of it was like people were talking about it, but it had got banned in like Europe or something because
Really?
it's no gambling or anything like that. But I guess they ruled that it's too similar, like
Really?
to real poker or something like that. So there was some controversy there where it probably is going to get reversed, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was a breakout hit, but that was like the one stumbling block that it had. It was like, well, now y'all treat it unfairly because it's just a fun game. It involves cards and poker and like a setting, I guess that's like more of a gambling type setting, but there's no actual
There's no
gambling
gambling
involved.
you're doing. No, you're
Yeah.
basically trying to create better books for yourself, or like either card or hands, essentially. In your
Mhm.
it's no gambling though. You're not literally you're competing with yourself in a computer. There's nothing to gamble about it. There's just cool ways that they do stuff with the deck. They do stuff with the jokers, and they do stuff with like cool like upgrades to cards or something like that. So overall, like I said, it's just a good fun game. Generally, I understand that everything is like a gateway drug at this point with all the extra gambling they want to let you do with all these sports betting apps and oh, free $100. How can you afford to give somebody $100 every time somebody sign up? Obviously, there's a lot of money involved in this stuff and a lot of ways to get people to involved and wanting to gamble all the time. They love getting a streamer to just gamble all day. That's all I want you to do. Just gamble. Like, how can you afford to pay somebody to just gamble? Because they make too much money. I get it. It's gateways everywhere. But this ain't one of them. This is just more so one of those one-off things that you can enjoy. It's like a run game, but I wouldn't look too much into the controversy around that. But yeah, if you look at it in a certain light, anything could be a gateway drug, apparently. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I did. I really didn't have a lot going on. It's funny now. I just was outside cutting my grass. I'm so old. But I was cutting my grass and my edger broke, so half my junk edged. The other half looked like it ain't got its liners up yet. So you like somebody cut the half, like somebody cut the half of your head and just left the rest of it to be like there. That's how my grass look
Nah.
right now. So, but yeah, I had to order a new one because the thing freaking broke on me. So I ain't been doing nothing, but a lot more hours at work. A lot of changes happened, so I've been really busy with that. But I've been chilling. I ain't been doing much. Waiting on I don't know. I want to buy Stellar Blade Day One, but at the same time I don't. So I don't know what I'm gonna do when that game drops. But
Yeah,
yeah, I ain't been doing nothing.
I ain't got nothing else to play on my PlayStation, and I feel like since that game come out in like a week, I might as well try it, and then that's like it. Because I was just thinking about it. For me, Stellar Blade comes out, and then Hellblade comes out next month.
Yeah,
But after that, there's pretty a bit of a wait until like Elden Ring DLC and then Star Wars. So it might be. I mean, obviously games will come out, but right now there's nothing big on my list for the summer. So I don't know. Stellar Blade might be the last hit that I do on my PlayStation.
yeah. It's been real. It's been real like low when it comes to gaming news. Not the rap game. The rap game been going crazy. I
Mm-mm.
ain't gonna lie to you. That's all I've been doing for the last couple of days. I know we on a gaming podcast, but I can't get enough of all the back and forth. It's so funny to watch. And it's so funny everybody got
Well,
a different take. It's so funny to me. I ain't gonna say too
yeah,
much
we ain't
on it,
gotta
but the different
go
takes.
deep into it. But I was gonna ask, like, I guess, what's your temperature on, what's been coming out? Like, y'all feeling hot or cold on what Drake put out? I mean,
You
I
mean
think the J. Cole situation has cooled off.
uh, J. Cole threw a whole lot of water on everything, for honestly. But I've been liking the back and forth. I like Rick Ross's response, but at the same time, I don't really care for his response. Like, I don't care for Drake to respond to Rick Ross right now. I think Rick Ross is. I think his is more petty than anything. It's not really like a beneficial thing to watch at this point. It's like the animosity behind it just seemed like he just doesn't like Drake, which is fine. You don't gotta like him, but I feel like
Yeah.
Kendrick's just have more weight to it because they are in this position where they're battling for the top spot, and it actually is interesting to watch. I think Rick Ross is a great lyricist in his own right, but I just don't care because he's old.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
And
he's
I just
older,
don't care.
but yeah, they're not in the same. I don't want to say league because they're both talented, but like weight class for like boxing, where it's like this is not a relevant fight because y'all are not in.
Yeah,
Drake.
and it's super petty. I feel like it's the point behind of it. The whole thing is just like super petty. So I'm like, I really don't care about him and about what he's saying. I'm ready for the main event. I'm ready to see Kendrick and Drake, go back and forth. And I'm interested in seeing what that looks like for both of their careers afterwards. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much where I'm at with it. I've been enjoying it though, for sure.
Man, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I ain't been enjoying it, but I've been getting annoyed by it.
What you been annoyed by? Don't tell me you wanted them. What's the annoying part?
It's my thing about all this is like when I listened to the Kendrick disc, I didn't feel like it was that much of a disc. It was just he said something similar in Control. I ain't feel like he was like really. How do I say this? I feel like it was straight in there what he said. I mean, you could take it as a disc. If anything, I feel like it was a tad bit more directed towards Drake than like J. Cole. I mean, he said big. I mean, the biggest thing I felt like, and you could correct me if I was wrong. I might have listened to it wrong, but he said big three, whatever, it's just me or whatever. But I'm like, all right.
I think it was more so the For All the Dogs Getting Buried because that was his name of his last album, and he told him he's gonna see Pet Sematary. I think that was really the line that probably made Drake the most upset. I mean, obviously the whole Mike when he did it on First Person Shooter when he was talking about at the end of it like I'm one away from Mike, beat it, and he was doing his whole little sound after that, and him saying that he Prince. I think those two lines have more impact than I don't care about the big three because I think and poor Big Sean said the same thing, but nobody cared. So I don't think that was the problem. I think him directly talking to Drake about that For All the Dogs and for the Mike reference, those were the two that probably made Drake want to respond because I don't think nobody cared about the big three. Yeah, everybody's saying it because that's the most direct thing that you can like take and but the subliminals or not even the subliminals, the direct hits that were targeted made more sense because the big three could be anybody.
Yeah. So with that being said, I didn't come off to me as like a strong diss, right?
Okay.
So when people putting all this stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
And just sound like, people sound like, and J. Cole here, this and a third. I'm like, okay, so what is J. Cole necessarily getting involved? I can understand where J. Cole is getting involved in, but it wasn't something that was really, really worth like responding. But people saying all these things and, how he gonna respond, all this type of stuff, and how Drake gonna respond, right? So I'm like, all right. Again, if anything, it was more directed towards Drake than J. Cole. J. Cole need to respond. J. Cole do respond. I liked it the first half of the disc. I didn't really like the beat change and stuff like that. Yeah, so like the J. Cole disc was okay. So the Kendrick disc was more pointed towards, in my opinion, more Drake. J. Cole caught a stray. It wasn't really a true stray. Like I mean, from my standpoint, he responded. He went harder on Kendrick than Kendrick went harder than him. J. Cole went harder on Kendrick than if Kendrick even went in on him for real. Now J. Cole said these things. I liked it the first half of the disc. The second half of the disc, wasn't a huge fan of like the beat change, things like that. And then he apologized. So now you got the other aspect of it is, I mean, I get the rap gang thing. You shouldn't apologize. Cole won't always do like the more truthful thing. He down to himself. He the type of person that be like, look, man, it ain't nothing special about me. I just rhyme good, and y'all love me for it. But I just prefer to live a regular life. Like I just rhyme good. I like doing this. So, he's trying to be honorable and all that type of stuff. So now it's out of context that J. Cole then apologize to Kendrick. But if you listen to the thing, I didn't pick it up that way. I picked it up as he's apologizing for himself for letting people get him to act out of character and get involved with something that he ain't want to be involved in. And maybe he listened to the thing and be like, dang, he ain't really dissed me like that. I think I made this because this is what the people wanted, not something that I wanted to do. So he's not apologizing to Kendrick. He's apologizing to himself for the way he acted. And his like, I'm going to take this down because it's out of my character. All right. So now people taking it more out of context. J. Cole, this, that, and the third. And this could be a little J. Cole bias come out, but I understood where he was coming from. I still don't think it was the right place to do it or the right way. He could have just took it down quietly. But people saying he apologized to Kendrick and then got all these metaphors. Like, imagine you going to the ring and then you trade blows with somebody and then you apologize to them and then throw a white flag and walk away and stuff like that. So it's like, I get that, like, where y'all trying to come with it. But if you listen to what he said and like, this is where you get the clowns and stuff, the internet that don't necessarily understand messages. He ain't never say Kendrick Lamar, I'm sorry. He never said that. Like, so.
I mean, I guess it's more so implied simply because he said who's the best. Well, he didn't say it. It doesn't matter what he said.
He still wanted to smooth over their relationship. He wanted to say that he no longer, he wasn't acting out of positive energy, that he doesn't like to do that.
Correct.
And he doesn't want any animosity to be felt towards Kendrick. He did. I think he did say something along those lines. He doesn't want their relationship to
falter be negative, or he don't want no bad energy. He basically bowed out gracefully as he could, and that's fine. But it's considered an apology 3 days before when you diss him, because you didn't have to put the diss out at all. You could have just not said anything, and you would have had your integrity intact, and nobody would have clowned you for putting something out and then going doing a takesy backsies. Not saying that he apologized, but it doesn't even matter about the apology to me. It matters that he went back and said, no, I don't want to do this. That's not a apology, in my opinion. That I don't care that the apology is even there. I'm just more so telling you that he decided that he was going to bait people into rapping towards him for a long time. Like, that's what his rhymes about. He just the best. And everybody rhymes about being the best, but he rhymes about being number uno, number one. So when he did that, he brings a certain amount of energy. When he brought that energy, he
invalidated a lot of his lyrics.
Exactly. He took away, he stepped down. So that means when you step down, that means that it just muddies the water, because it kind of feels as if, okay, if you were just rapping good, don't say those things in your lyrics. You just don't say them. Or, if you don't do it.
Realistically, he should have just dropped the mixtape and not included the disc.
Yeah, that's what he would have done. And nobody would have cared, because obviously they would have tried to take subliminals out of it, but no direct shots. And nobody would have blinked an eye, because, or at least people would have, but they wouldn't have had, they like, man, it's already done. He just dropping it. They would have cop please. They can't cop please because he did something and then took it back. So nobody can cop please for him no more. That's all it is.
The point that I'm making with all this is I'm not a fan that he even took that route. Like I agree with y'all. Like the thing that I'm annoyed with.
It's not that bad. I don't think it's necessarily career suicide, but it does dampen his momentum.
He invalidated his lyrics. Like even if we know everything all these people say isn't true, he invalidated. He essentially said, like, this ain't what I'm standing for. Basically, like, it ought to clack, if they won't smoke, I'm looking for, everybody say that Drake talk about he got his goons, or I handle this myself. Kendrick, they don't do that. Like, they not indicted. They not, you know what I'm saying? You got other people that's really about that. You know what I'm saying? So
And I
we know
never
that
think
they
anybody's
about
a
that.
killer until they kill something. So I'm just more so talking about being the best rapper alive, being the best number one right now. That's what he kind of invalidated for me. So I don't look at. I mean, I never looked at Cole as my favorite rapper or anything like that. But I always he stayed in the conversation of top threes because of his rapping ability, his legacy, and his ability to entertain masses. That is why he stayed in that top three. But this right here just brings a chink in it, like a big chink in his armor, and it drops him below because when that time came for you to like want to keep hold your spot and fight for it, you gracefully bowed out, which is respectful because and I guess in a grown man society, I think that's respectful that he really didn't want to pretend to have animosity towards somebody he didn't really have any amount of animosity towards. So that's a level of growth that a lot of men ain't gonna never reach in a lifetime. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, this is a
Rapping
sport, a rap.
that
You know,
battlefield not for that though. That's the thing.
yeah.
Like, you can't. It's not for
You
that.
can't be you
It's not
can't be
about
a
being a
more
bigger person.
mature adult and be a rapper.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can't do both of
that's,
those.
that's just
Not
like
because who
that.
listens to that type of stuff? Like,
Can't,
who's the
can't,
majority that listens to that type of stuff? The
uh,
people who get
Did
on
y'all watch
Facebook,
the
Instagram,
last
you see,
huh?
who?
the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance?
I watched some.
Mm-mm.
I watched almost up to like the last 3 episodes. I didn't watch.
Okay. Well, one interesting part that I saw was that Michael Jordan was saying that some like beefs or issues he had with some people were like manufactured, and not necessarily that it was like fake, but if somebody like bumped into him by mistake while playing, he would mentally take that to like, oh, they really out here disrespecting me, so I gotta go 10 times harder on him because he bumped me. And like he would mentally push himself like that, and that's why he was more successful, because he would push himself like that. But Michael Jordan was overly competitive to where it's like not healthy.
Dangerous. Yeah, it was
And
dangerous.
J. Cole is not that
Yeah.
type of person. He doesn't want to be that type of person.
No, and I get
Yeah.
that. So
So the point, my bad, I don't mean the point that I'm making. The original point that I'm making is that the reason I'm annoyed with all this type of stuff. I know you say you was entertained by it, and you said why is because how everything is blown out of context. People say these things. I see it on the internet. I see the media headlines, YouTube. Then I go listen to it. I'm like, this ain't what y'all said it was. So then you get all these other people, and they just, I'm waiting for a Drake and Kanye situation before COB and Donda came out when they was beefing, and then they came out they was cool. Like, I'm waiting for something like that to happen because people so invested in all this type of stuff and taking sides, and we don't even know if they truly beefing about. Like, we don't even know if they actually beefing. If somebody says it's just a lot of telephone that's been played, and I felt like everything just blown out of context. And that's the part that's been annoying me. And then the algorithm, when I go read a comment, they like, oh, you like this little rap page? We got to show you another one. More beef, get you some, bro. Grade A beef, USDA. So
beef,
that's the part that's
yeah.
been annoying me because it's been blowing up my feeds and stuff like that. And it's over things that's not. And then things be happening. They show me things days later. And I'm like, well, this is old now because they didn't drop this, and all that type of stuff. And then you got people like Rick Ross chiming in. We like, bro, you was not the biggest boss that we've seen thus far. Go sit down somewhere, my boy. Like go sit down. Like, try again. We talking about Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's the reason I've been annoyed by it.
Okay, well, you mean you could be annoyed. I mean, that's a valid reason to be annoyed. Like, especially if you kind of feel like this whole situation is a very immature. That's fine. I get that. I think the entertaining part for me is simply this is the closest we're ever going to get to a real rap, I guess, rap battle, to the point where in like the main industry where people could see like, I don't want it to get crazy at all, honestly. I just want them to be able to show the capabilities of what a real rapper truly can do with their pen. And I think Drake is equipped to do it, and I think Kendrick is equipped to do it. But I'm looking for other people that I enjoy to try to become a contender in some of this, but obviously that ain't gonna happen. Everybody's nice, everybody's happy, everybody enjoys each other. People got kids. It's not like it's necessary, but I just always felt like the people that held that top spot were okay, and I still feel that way. But I think Drake and Kendrick doing this will either drop chinks in both armor. That's where I'm looking. I'm not hating, but I am like, okay, I need Kendrick to rap and I need Drake to rap. Drake actually has shown us what it looks like for him to get in battle mode. I've never seen Kendrick be in battle mode. I don't even know if Kendrick gonna respond at this point, but I just know that
expect them to.
I just know that is going to shine a different light on how Kendrick is perceived. Just like it just happened with J. Cole immediately when he did that. So it's just whatever happens, they're not coming out of here unscathed. Obviously, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I'm just more so trying to get more people back into the conversation of what a true lyricist is, because yeah, you can make a good album. Yeah, you can make people dance and have fun. But are you truly a lyricist? That's really what I'm looking at from this point of view. Like, I really want people to start to deep dive into people's catalog and not just pretend like because they have that esteem that they're just great. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I hope happens. I hope people start to really start to put their listening ears on and not listen for the beat. So I want to see what Drake can do. I know Drake can do it. I heard it. I just want to see if Kendrick can. And if he can't, then we got to talk about top threes. That's all I'm saying. I've seen Drake though.
To Drake this, right?
Yeah, I listened to Drake this. Yeah. I listened to. I'm talking about Doopy freestyle. I'm talking about back to back. I'm talking about everything we've seen that Drake is battle tested and he actually can rap and battle and make a hit song out of a beef. That's what he can do. He knows how to do it. That's not a skill everyone has. Never seen Kendrick do it. And I want to see if Kendrick can, because that tells me where I should hold him in regards to, best MCs. Like, obviously, Drake is clearing you if he can do everything plus more. And you can't. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to make sure we're putting these people in the right positions. That's all I'm saying. That's where I want to see come from this. I'm not on Kendrick's side. I'm not on Drake's side. I want to see who is the greater lyricist at this point. So, yeah. To me, that ain't been decided. I don't know. Maybe people have already decided that Kendrick is just better because of his subject matter. That doesn't appease me. I like his subject matter the most, but that doesn't appease that to me that he is the better lyricist at all. So, I'm just looking forward to seeing what he can do. So, I'm looking forward to it because I know what that little snippet did. Obviously, he always has moment, but I want that moment to meet actual skill. So, without the moment, what does that skill look like in that light? That's what I'm looking for. Because we already there. So, anywho, that was way too long on rap beef, which I said we wasn't gonna do, but whatever, it happened. But let's move into our first topic. I'm gonna talk about that Fallout. So, Fallout was really surprised me. It wasn't that I wasn't expecting it to be good. I just wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, to really nail a lot of the satire and funniness of the world of Fallout, but also have the serious moments and do it well enough and have enough stories and things going on that you're always interested in keeping up with every character they are introducing to you. I think that's difficult. I think that the expansive world of Fallout is difficult to wrap your head around. But I feel like they just nailed it on a lot of points. I mean, there is some things that I can nitpick, but not even me. Honestly, these are opinions that are coming out on the internet that I'm seeing, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But when I initially watched it, when I finished it, I had no notes. So it was like that is a great. This has to be by far the best adaptation of a video game to television. By far, I don't think there's anyone that's beating it, in my opinion. And movie wise, I'm trying to think. I think Mad Max, you just can't beat it. But Mad Max was a movie. It was a movie that turned into another movie that it's not the same. I think that this game, I mean the series and this TV show probably had the best adaptation. Maybe there's one or two that might be beating it, but I can't think of it right now. I think that this one is the
The only
cream
one
of
I
the
can
crop.
think of which has the same actress is Arcane.
Oh yeah. Nope.
And the main girl in Fallout is Jinx, I think, in Arcane.
Oh okay. Yeah, she's a really good actor. She got big eyes, but she's a really good actor. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I mean everything about it. I think that the way that they introduced Brotherhood, or way they introduced the vaults, they understood the assignment, mystery behind it, and I think people that even don't watch it, because my wife caught a little bit of it, she was intrigued by the world. She thought it was very interesting in what they were doing and a lot of the topics they were covering. She didn't end up watching the entire thing just due to me binging it. But overall, I think this is something that not only people that enjoy Fallout have a little bit of Fallout like knowledge, but and then the main hardcore people would even like. I think they might give it a 7.5 because of some silly thing that they didn't like. But overall, I really enjoyed the show. I thought they did it really a lot of justice. I think a lot of the moment to moment action scenes were really done well, and the CGI wasn't as bad as I thought at all. So yeah, really good show. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I mean, if you know the world of Fallout, you know what to expect. But at the same time, this is a new story in the way that they bring all of the prior games and the history to the world is a unique and fun way. And then it also just fits into the timeline, so it's not messing anything up either. So everything worked, man. I ain't gonna lie, I was really surprised by it, and I was really surprised about how many things that they introduced from the world that I thought maybe wasn't going to get right, like the Pip Boy. I thought they weren't going to get right some of the monsters. I didn't think they was going to get the armor right, but they pulled it off with a great lens. I think the director being someone that actually liked the games really helped. It made sense once you really watched it because there was a lot of references, but at the same time, it is what it is. It's that game, but they really created a world and believable characters in a world in this dystopia, this weird place. They really nailed the aesthetic, and everything. So I enjoyed it. That's all I'll say on that. I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't think I have anybody here that I can kind of debate with. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
No, Fallout is an interesting world. Like I played through Fallout 3 a long time ago, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I would be interested in seeing that world done well. So
Mhm.
I'll check it out. But is that who's that through? Is that Netflix or Amazon?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah, it's through Amazon. So, but yeah, I mean, this, what's funny now is that the Xbox owns this. I was like, well, they probably should have outsourced their Halo game Halo TV show. I don't know to who, but I don't know. Maybe I feel like maybe they did the best they could, but
Probably Amazon. I feel
yeah.
like so. I haven't watched Rings of Power, but I feel like Amazon has been putting a lot of effort into being faithful and also, getting the right budget. It might not be perfect, but they're
Mhm.
they're putting more effort into it. Whereas like Paramount, it's like, oh, here we have this sci-fi story and we're gonna add the Halo name to it. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of been the impression. And not to say they can't have some creative ideas, but it's not trying to be faithful or pull from something that people are familiar with. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that is kind of what people want when you bring an IP to, live action. If you want to do your own sci-fi story, it probably will be better received if it was its own story.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. And I think they were true to their assignment, and it did leave you in a place where you might start to learn new stuff, but it's still within the realms of the world. And I really, really, like I said, I really, really enjoyed it. Um, hopefully they don't do a Witcher on us and take out
Mm,
somebody season 3. I'm so bad. I'm still laughing at how Netflix were promoting that. It was like he's still in it season 3 because nobody watched season 3 because everybody's under the expectation that season 3 was going to be without him, and they just
mhm.
nobody watched. So season 4 was actually the one where he's not going to jump back in, but nobody watched season 3 simply because of the fact that news broke as season 3 was coming out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall, y'all should check it out. Anybody that is a true fan of Fallout, I think you will have a really good time with it. I think a lot of the characters in the world and the set moments was really done well and enjoyable to watch. So yeah, they even threw some slow mo in there for you guys. That's but yeah,
I get bats in there.
yeah, all that stuff, man. Like I said, they did a really good job. And I always loved the guy from Hateful Eight. I always forget his name. Jesus, what's his name? He was the ghoul. Um, but he's always really good at and he's very witty. But it was
He's the
technically he was playing the hateful the Eight character where he was just a witty cop. The cop.
yeah.
He was the mayor. The mayor of I forget the name of the town. But yeah, it was really
Yeah, I know
good.
you're talking about
Mhm.
the ghoul
Yeah,
character.
I think his name's Walton Goggins. Walton Goggins or Joe Goggins. Yes, Goggins. I think. Yeah. But yeah, he's really good as an actor as well. So they really had nailed a lot of the key moments that were impactful. So check it out, enjoy it, and let me know what y'all think. But yeah, let's move on to my next topic. I really ain't got that many, but the PS5 Pro, 60 FPS is expected on most games. Dog, I really don't want to be that guy, but the PS5 Pro is a bad idea. It's a bad idea simply because it does not move the needle enough. To a headline to say 60 FPS mostly on a console that is supposed to be the next gen that we are supposed to already have 60 FPS. Like what are you doing at this point? I really don't understand who this product is for and who is it catering to. And um honestly, I just feel like the consoles are starting to become a problem. 7 years is just too long of a cycle. They don't have the ability to really dig into the technology because something new is being introduced daily. New engines, new hardware. What is the point of targeting these things that barely get a shelf life, that barely can keep up with the rapid technology changes? And the fact that nobody is holding on to tech like that no more. It's like I I, I don't know. Maybe in my brain, I would think that, and maybe that's what's going on. The heavy investment in AI, the heavy investment in software. They no longer want the hardware to do the heavy lifting. They want the software to do the heavy lifting because the software can be updated. Maybe that is what I'm missing here. maybe this PS5 Pro will have some unique AI based enhancements that will unlock its potential for years to come. But right now, I just don't see the benefit of getting a PS5 Pro, an incremental upgrade that is not going to benefit anyone in a true, meaningful way. Especially when you're telling me that games can potentially hit 60 versus really hitting 60. So we already got the specs. We already had a digital foundry analysis. And all of this stuff has already come out that it's just not as much more powerful than the PS5 standard. So I'm just trying to really figure out who this thing is for. Y'all got some ideas? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I can think of like 5 or 6 games right off top that don't run at 60 because they're poorly optimized, and having a PS5 Pro technically would improve that, but the game is still unoptimized. And so I don't feel comfortable buying a $500+ console to play a handful of games that already should run better. Like the PS4 Pro, and at that time kind of made sense because the consoles were old, but also games for the most part were targeting 30, and they were not always stable, like Bloodborne. And so then you have a situation, okay, we have a incremental upgrade. Maybe some games can get pushed to 60, but in most cases it's going to clean up a lot of the poor performing games that are out now. That kind of helped because it brought the minimum. Well, they also could push other things like backwards compatibility and stuff like that on the Xbox. But those made sense. Whereas like the consoles we have now, I feel like are generally pretty good hardware, but the games aren't always performing well. And I don't think it's the hardware's fault. At least I don't think it's any game that's out now that's the hardware's fault, other than just poor optimization from the developer. Like maybe GTA 6 is going to change that, where they can't push it any further because the hardware is not capable of handling it. But like all first party Sony games run at 60, and they also have a 30 mode. Third party games like Stellar Blade runs at 60, and I don't see like I said, I don't see who this is for, or what game is this going to allow me to play that the best way to play is on the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, I feel like everybody is moving on way too fast, but at the same time, I feel like that is just the industry standard at this point. Like, nobody is truly sitting down and optimizing their game. That's why Stellar Blade is so unique at this point, because it actually does run well, and it's not a crappy game that's just coming out where the demo runs well, and I'm sure that was going to be the case when the full game releases. Same thing with like Street Fighter 6. I can run that thing on a Steam Deck at 60 FPS. So I know that these consoles have no issues getting to the maxes and lows of where we want it to be. And depending on where these with the dynamic refresh rates and all this stuff, it's literally optimization issues. That is why the strongest PC in the world could still chug on Dragon's Dogma, because that is nothing to do with the hardware. That's why I don't understand an upgrade at this point, because there isn't anything that's going to change the fundamentals behind why this game isn't running well. Because as you stated, they're mostly unoptimized crap games anyway. They're not going to be optimized properly to even run this thing. But to try to give you margin to sell someone on this pro version, potentially sometimes doing 60 FPS, is crazy to me. That just screams like waste your time. That's just waste your time on 2024. Like, why would I want to waste my money, my time? Because it's not really going to do the thing that we think it's going to do. Like I said, unless Sony has some AI chip on their system that, and once it has to do two things. It has to increase frame rate and it has to decrease latency. Like immediately decrease the latency on the like it cannot introduce just frames and not actually decrease the latency on it to make it feel like 60 FPS versus playing you feel like 30 but you're playing at 60 to pretend like you're meeting something. That's just trickery at that point and it's not going to be beneficial to anyone. So unless this thing has something like that, which it doesn't, because the hardware already been released or the hardware has been released, but they have talked about this super sample resolution thing that's going to be exclusive to this console. I don't know what that entails. I don't know what the artificial intelligence is on the board or the chip. But I just know that it's not going to be enough. We already have FSR3. We already have DLSS. A lot of these games, yes, will run and look better, but at the same time, they are optimized already to hit 60 to make it look better. Like you can't fake it. You can't fake 30 and get it to 60. That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
So this technology already has to hit it.
The technology and like you said, the FSR and the DLSS space has already been around for a while, and has a lot of really good features, but it can't fix something that's fundamentally broken, like Dragon's Dogma.
It can't.
You can put as much DLSS on it as you want, and it's not gonna fix the stutters, like because the game itself is the issue, and it's not the technology behind it. Well, at least the software from the NVIDIA and stuff like that.
So giving somebody another SKU to target doesn't really help them. It just makes their job worse because now they're trying to optimize for another console that they don't know how to optimize for the rest of them anyway. And that is the simple reason why I just feel like this whole gaming industry is all going in like multiple directions. I feel like I trust Microsoft the most because they have two gaming platforms, and they have to continue to support both, and they have to continue to support developers because they want to be at the top of the competition. Sony just has to support themselves, and I feel like they are doing a lot of things wrong right now, and they're putting a lot of money into the wrong things. I have not seen their initiative on how they're going to combat the fact that Microsoft and Xbox are going to be unified soon to the point where you don't tell the difference, to the point where everything that you bought on your Xbox probably is going to be playable on your PC. And maybe some of that licensing that you did buy on the Xbox could potentially allow it to be unlocked on your system. That is something I truly see happening in the near future, where they will unlock the ability to try and to run PC games that are available on the Xbox through your system, through their ecosystem, in a uniform way. I don't see them doing anything like that, but they're wasting their time on a PS5 Pro that nobody's asking for, nor will it benefit anyone because it's just not there. None of the technology right now is there to the point where you can make a big difference because it's still running on the same architecture. It cannot deviate too much. This isn't a turnaround. This isn't something that's going to change the way you play your games. It's more of the same, guys. So I don't know. And then they giving all the game to PC anyway. So I'm like, bro, if I want to play the definitive version of any of your games, it is on a PC, regardless of what you think. Obviously, they have optimization issues as well, but I guess after a certain amount of patches, I'm so sick of the game. I'm so sick of the gaming industry. Everything is just everywhere. It's such a problematic place, and there's nothing that you can nail down to be the specific pain point. I mean, you can blame it all on Unreal Engine 4, but I really don't think that's the pain point. I think everybody is moving too fast. There's deadlines. There is a lack of expertise in these companies, and I feel like everybody is out to make a quick dollar, so they're cutting corners. And it makes sense. I mean, if everybody is doing the same thing and they're breaking games and selling them and shipping them as, fully functional, I mean, why not? That's what everybody else is doing, but it's just crazy.
A lot of people in the industry will say it's turnover, Just people that have expertise, people who, let's say, been at Bungie for a long time, maybe they retire or they move to a different company. But then you come into situations like the last year or so where a lot of people just get laid off. And, you know, these big games that are complex, if you lay off your, senior people, like a perfect example is 343 Industries laid off like a huge amount of people, a lot of people that were there for a long time. And so if Halo has issues in the future, it's because somebody had to come in and pick up the pieces and not necessarily gonna be perfect. And that's been happening at every company. So as the games get bigger, they're gonna be more complex and just less expertise or less focus on smoothing out these issues that we didn't necessarily have in the past.
No, I mean, I don't want to be the. It's not like it's honestly buy. I mean, buy what you want. I just think that this isn't the solution for our gaming industry. The solution for the gaming industry isn't better hardware. I think I speak with for everyone that has a 7900 XTX or 4090 that regardless of your hardware, if the game is not optimized properly, you're not going to have a great experience. So there isn't about like imagine a Xbox having a 7900 XTX or something of that level of caliber of gaming equipment and still was having issues bottlenecking or having CPU issues due to poor optimization, due to bad CPU utilization, to poor frame times. Like it doesn't fix it. The fix isn't that. Now I know that Microsoft has done some magic with emulation. Maybe that's their route. Maybe that they just truly are going to pull off the biggest and the craziest thing uh in the future where they're because the way they emulated the Xbox 360, that is the reason why they were able to increase the power, increase the performance, and fix a lot of the bugs and in places that in situations on certain games. I don't know. Maybe that they are building that technology. I don't know. I just know that right now I don't see a true solution, and throwing more power at it isn't the answer. So yeah, I don't know. But that's a lot. Said a lot. Any thoughts on that, gentlemen, or any other thoughts before we move on?
No. I mean, we wait and see what the price is like. They can make it competitive, but this is a pro device, and so $500 plus is not a good sale for mid-generation refresh.
You know what I want right now? Some more of those pizza puffs. I kind of do want to go get some of those. Unlike Jalen, I was able to get some pretty stellar pizza puffs the first 2 times around I tried it versus having to wait, I don't know what, the 4th time where Jalen didn't have burnt tops or something weird happening with most of his pizza.
Man, they are doing me.
Even Little Caesars management team couldn't fix that problem. They actually do sound really good right now. Might go pick some of those up. Anywho's, Jalen, did you buy Final Fantasy VII yet? Rebirth.
Man. Sersky.
I'll take. I gotta revoke his Square Enix voice card. He no longer a part of the club. How have you? Well, you're part of the reason. Let's read this next story. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sales reportedly aren't going too well. Shocker. It is pretty shocking to, I guess, them. It's not shocking to me. I always thought that Final Fantasy VII had massive success at the time simply because everybody was hyping the remake and wanted to check it out. But also, I think it was like at the very end of the PS4 era. So it was like a large player base. they messed up by putting this on PS5 exclusively. Nobody wants to buy a PS5, and obviously it is showing in the Rebirth sales. It's not that people can't get them now. There's plenty of people that have them. It's just most people are very, very particular about their $70 games. What another shocker. Like, what did they think was going to happen? Inflation has increased. Prices of games have increased. You have locked people out of being able to play it by exclusively putting it on one system. There is no shock to me that this game isn't selling as good as its previous. It's just the amount that it's selling right now that may be the biggest shock. I believe. Go ahead.
Oh, if you want to say the numbers, I was gonna comment on the sales.
I haven't seen a number, but I think it sold half of what Remake has sold at this point in time.
Okay, or it's tracking half of what Remake sold.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I've also seen that Final Fantasy 16 is also was tracking faster. It was higher sales in the same time period, which was surprising because not to say I haven't played the game, so I know people had issues with it. But Final Fantasy 7 has a lot of, I guess, clout behind it and has a lot of existing fans. So I would expect that game is the one that would sell better. But so far, that's not the case. And there'd be a lot of reasons. People were saying that since it's a part 2, some people haven't played part 1 and maybe don't want to jump right into 2 and stuff like that. So that could impact sales. But yeah, it's surprising. And I would say exclusivity is probably the biggest issue with the sales. Like, you know, that Sony check, that whatever deal that helps sweeten the development is maybe not, that money's not going as long as it could. And it might not be worth it for exclusivity in the future. I mean, I don't think it's worth it from the consumer standpoint because it just makes your consumers unhappy. It doesn't benefit everybody. But now it seems like the money incentive is not there for developers to be exclusive either. These games are expensive, and people are not going to be buying them up, you know, like hotcakes. So
no,
y'all got to be smarter with these deals. Yeah.
Yeah, $75, bro. Like, come on now. Nobody wants to pay $75 per game to buy it outright when they know down the line it's gonna be 40 in like 3 months. Like, nobody's buying games because they have set the tone that it's super. This is a super expensive hobby. 1, but 2, the fact that I can't play it on the system I bought into, it's nasty work. That's nasty work. So I'm not saying that exclusivity doesn't have its place. I'm saying that these types of games that have seen wider releases, at least on the PC, you should probably want to continue with that because Final Fantasy 16 was its own thing. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is attached to Remake in a lot of ways, so there's no reason for you to not have that game available on the systems that it had been available on previously at launch, because it just doesn't make sense. You're leaving out a player base. You're expecting them to go buy a PS5 to play when all their save and maybe if there's some interconnectivity, whatever. I don't care what the justification is. I'm making someone go buy a PS5 for the game. It runs poorly. I'm not saying it runs terribly. It's okay, but overall, it's not the hottest looking game. It's and it's only on one system. So imagine if it was on 2. I don't know what that game would look like, honestly. And then the fact that the exclusive nature of it just really tanked everything. I really don't know if there's room left for people to, I don't know if there's room left now for any type of like debate around exclusivity. To me, I think that this type of exclusivity is a problem. Third party exclusivity is a problem. First party, you write it off on your books because that is something that you decided to do because you wanted to sell your console and your ecosystem. But third party exclusivity where you got to go back to your team and you got to go back to your investors and talk to them about why your game is not underperforming because of the exclusivity deal that you decided to do. I don't think it makes up enough for the longevity of the product. And if it doesn't make them stop doing exclusivity, it's definitely going to make that time frame of from release to secondary release a lot shorter. That's what I think is going to start to happen if they decide to do exclusivity deals again. Maybe that ticket was just good enough. Maybe it saved them because I know Square Enix was scaling off a lot of stuff previously, and then when Final Fantasy Remake came out, that's when they started to like weigh off. It was able to ward off any type of purchase situations happening, and maybe that's what helped them. I'm not saying that their situation couldn't have been dire back then and now they're just stuck in it, but it just seems weird. It seems terrible in the light right now. It just seems like a terrible decision. So I don't know what their situation is. All I know is right now the Rebirth, it's too many Jalen's out there, that just don't want to buy it, are on the fence. They like, I ain't got the time anyway, I'm not trying to spend that much money. I'll wait till it's cheaper and I got the time. So I feel like I
gotta be Persona.
I know. I'm not saying that you don't have valid reasons. I'm saying that a lot of people might be out there like you that may even have the PS5 and just not interested in buying it right now. And they did a really good job of trying to get people hyped for it and giving you the first game with the DLC for free. Remember, if you bought it digitally, you could have had both. And I think that was a big promotion for them because they wanted people to not feel like they couldn't purchase this game day one and it's still underperforming. That's not good because they gave it away. It was $69.99 for both games. Like that literally you're giving it away for free because the game itself cost $70. So it's nasty work out there, man. I really don't get the whole. I really don't get it, but that's not for me to decide on. It's just for them to make their decision and go from there. But I think that was a serious blow for them, and they might have to reevaluate a lot of things moving forward. But yeah, my anything on that before we move to our next one?
Yeah, I'll say I think companies of a certain size or games of a certain size, we might not see as exclusives anymore. Like Final Fantasy, just because I don't think the money is there in the industry. For example, if Resident Evil 9 is PlayStation 5 exclusive, it's like cool for PlayStation, but Capcom spent bands on it, and I don't see how they're gonna make that money back at all. So
oh no,
I mean, I personally just not gonna see those type of games happening anymore. And Square Enix, I feel like that's their business model. They're used to it, and I just think that they're gonna have to learn how to break out of that.
No, I think that definitely killed Street Fighter V momentum. If it being on PlayStation.
Oh yeah, Street Fighter V, perfect example. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that Street Fighter 6 came out, they said no, thank you. we're gonna hit every console we can, baby. So it was a success, and I mean it's understandable. But that's my thing. Is like these companies aren't even pushing the envelope on gaming because they know they want to target the PlayStation 4 and the in the Xbox One X or One. So they're not even like pushing the envelope in graphical fidelity. I would leave that to the people that truly need to sell their box. Like I wouldn't be the first part. If I was a third party, I wouldn't be doing that. Like honestly, like what's the point? What satisfies me unless there's like a fundamental reason graphically that makes this game story better. There's no benefit for me. So I would still target lower end specs and still try to provide a game that is massive and expansive, and maybe have those drawbacks be for those previous consoles, but I would still want to do everything because we've gotten great games that work like that, like Elden Ring. We've gotten great games that have done that targeted older systems. And obviously, that's the only reason why most of these games could even get closer to 60, because they were targeting lower, specs. And that's what happened with, Elden Ring. It was unframed more, and it was bad frame timing and all that jazz. It's just like you're never going to win, bro. So I don't know. I feel like there is a time now where we're in this weird space right before a real true technology burst where we see something truly magical come along. And I think that's like, I say 6 years out of something that truly changes the playing field for gaming, because there's a lot of companies right now trying to work on automation. There's a lot of companies working on AI, and there's a lot of companies right now losing people. They are trying to solve for those three things at the same time. And it's going to be a lot of innovation in AI. It's going to be a lot of innovation in automation. There's going to be a lot of innovation in the ability to micro. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but it's more so to be able to carve out things that people can do and can't do, and provide the AI technology that ability to kind of fix the back end of it. I think a lot of that is going to start to occur, and maybe that is the next leap in optimization is AI optimization, letting the AI take over as the creative is working on it, because I don't want to take the creative out of it, but as the creative is working on the AI optimization on the back end is doing a lot of the coding and putting things together to make sure that everything is structured properly and make sure things are running properly. I think that is going to be the evolution, because right now they don't want to get rid of the creative, but they don't have a way to continue to replace people in a way with the ability and the understanding of how to take stuff on. So they'd rather teach an AI scripter, or they have an AI scripter, versus truly taking on people and training them and giving them the expertise in those lanes. They'd rather have somebody that's just an expert in AI. So I do think that's going to happen, Josh, which is unfortunate for a lot of reasons, but I think the way that gaming is and the way that it has to run on a multitude of things, there is a big open space for them to try to innovate in a way that provides a lot more automation there. So I think that's what's going to happen. It's no facts or no data to back it up, but I just think that there's a reason why we're getting so many updates and those those super resolutions and dynamic resolutions, and being able to take a image and trick you. That's all they're doing. It's just a fancy trick. So I just think that's what's going to be like the next evolution for it. This stuff is going to just be baked into the chip, and it's going to just work in a way that's, I mean, obviously we already have some of that that type of stuff already with AMD and stuff like that, but I think it's just going to be on a much stronger level in the future. But okay, that was enough talk about that. I think the last thing I want to talk about, are the two things I want to talk about. I know we brought it up already, but Stellar Blade. The only reason why I'm even giving this thing a second thought is simply because I like the world and the story behind the developer, and I really like the actual I like the I guess the design of the world more than anything. I like the fact that they are going to have a more, I don't know, Souls-like approach to the world, and where enemies are placed, and exploring that type of world really always was exciting, because it was like you got to find a way to get through it, but also at the same time there's obviously going to be a shortcut or something like that to kind of explore. I like those types of worlds built in that way. I do think the combat is going to be lacking. And that's really why I don't want to buy it. Because I'm like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of great things, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to be like a 7, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with a solid 7. I don't think it's going to be great, though. I just think it's going to be a lot of things that I don't like. That's going to lead me to a level of 7. But what gives me hope, and I don't know why, because I didn't like his game, Yoko Taro. Taro? Is it Yoko Taro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yoko Taro.
Wasn't he the developer of Nier Automata?
Yep.
Okay.
Developer, writer. Yeah, he's the guy behind Nier.
Okay. So he was giving praises to Stellar Blade and its director. And that tells me that he liked and enjoyed something within the game enough to really want to give that praise to him. And from what I've played, optimization-wise, I think Nier Automata was the same way. It was really optimized, very good running game. But optimization-wise, not having to divvy out and get platinum into the works for the combat or anything like that. I feel like platinum set me up for failure because I was expecting a platinum level of like fight and fun, and I didn't get that, so I didn't enjoy it. And I thought the story was stupid, but that is another thing here or there. But the Stellar, at least, I think I like the setup, and the combat itself it's digestible because I enjoy the design of the combat, which is Elden Ring or the Souls-like. So I'm not trying to set myself up for failure here by saying lower some of my expectations, but I want to make sure that the things that I enjoy are at the forefront, and then the things that I probably think may be lacking, I'm also going to state. And that's the one place that I'm like concerned about is just the creativity of the fights, simply because I think a lot of it's going to be around timing and more Sekiro, which you don't really have a lot of customization in, versus having an Elden Ring approach where you can do spears, you can have everything really. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to put a price tag on people's art, but at the same time, I feel like they never should have went to 70. I mean, I would have paid 60 for this game. I just don't like 70. I hate that. I hate that. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I hate that amount. It's just like it doesn't feel. I don't know. But I understand inflation. I understand everything. I hate when I make people have to determine a price on their art or whatever. But at the same time, bro, games are expensive. Games are a luxury, not a need. And when it comes to needs, I don't think I need this game, but I might try it at some point. I just got to determine whether or not I'm going to try it day one or not. So that's pretty much what my thoughts are on Stellar Blade. Did Yoko interview do anything for you, Josh, or did you read through it at all?
Yeah, I read through some of the highlights. It's pretty interesting because a lot of you don't, I guess, see it as much. Sometimes it does happen, but you don't see Japanese developers talking a lot about other people just because like they don't necessarily want to say something offensive.
Right.
But it seems like him and the developer, I don't know his full name, but I believe it's Kim, the developer, the main director at the Stellar Blade Studio.
Yes.
They both said positive things about each other. First, the Stellar Blade developer said that they were inspired by Nier Automata. Because Nier Automata, it's still an anime game, but I guess the difference is that at that time, it had, fun combat, but also the Nier developer takes their story very serious, and he puts a lot of work into it and make sure that it makes sense in multiple languages and stuff like that. So it had a lot of effort behind it and didn't seem like a cash in, which some of the Tales games kind of feel like, where they're kind of a formula
Yes.
that they can't break out of. Whereas Nier, it wasn't following a formula necessarily, so it was unique in that sense, and it got a lot of critical acclaim, which again, anime games outside of Final Fantasy don't get a lot of critical acclaim. But that being said, the skill up, shift up developers, they like Nier, they were inspired by it, and so they took a lot of inspiration. And so Yoko Taro had an interview where he came back and said that he's seen a lot from Stellar Blade, and from what he's very impressed with what they were able to do. Nier, I guess, didn't have a big budget, but they did the best that they could. Where Stellar Blade, it seems like they have a big budget and nice graphics and cutscene behind it. So he's very impressed with what they were able to do, and is a fan of their work and their art style and how they do their female and male characters and stuff like that. So he had a lot of positive stuff, and also kind of validating, I guess, what they're interested in. People were complaining about the sexuality or how the characters look,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of, I know you don't delve into much online controversy, but the biggest thing is that they're comparing it like, don't buy Stellar Blade, you should buy Nier, which has a mature story and also has characters who look attractive. And then for Yoko Taro to come back and say, well, actually, I think what they're doing is very good and it's better than my work, it kind of invalidates a lot of that discourse where the guy you're trying to big up as the morally correct one is also saying, no, I like that game that y'all dumping on.
Oh no, that's actually pretty funny. No, like I said, I think that these I think artists should allow to be like artists in regards to like what they want the game to look like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand people's points. I don't want to invalidate them, but if at the end of the day, everybody gotta make a decision. So,
adults, and it's not, nobody's getting hurt directly in this situation, so adults can buy what they want to buy.
exactly.
One thing I want to point out is I was talking with Jalen Brother about it. In Japan, there's a lot of ads for Shift Up, the Stellar Blade developer. Their previous game is a mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever heard of this game, but it's called Goddess of Victory, Nikkei. Have you heard of that game?
I have not. No.
All right, so it's a rail shooter. You like shooting at enemies in the game, but the whole point of it is it's a third person perspective, and it's a gacha game. So you collect characters, and they're all girls, and when they shoot, their dresses or their skirts fly up from the recoil. And so the whole point is collecting all of these girls and shooting at the enemies and the recoil from the gun, making their outfits jump up. That's the same people from Stellar Blade, and that game is super popular, and it funded Stellar Blade. So it's like there are people who like this type of stuff and will pay for it, and it's successful. And it's cool to see that they at least are interested in making a single player game that has no microtransactions because they still believe in the art of it. But
no, that's hilarious.
It's very interesting to see how
Yamich.
to see where this developer comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, Yam City. They come from Yam City to give it more yams, man. It is all it is. That's so funny. That is so funny. I always know that like companies have like, I don't know, a history, I suppose, but it's funny to be able to see people's transitions, and like what works for them is obviously what they're going to continue to push. So it's not like it's going to be changing. Like Sony figured out that everybody loves a really, really good story with a little bit of gameplay. They just kept doing it. They just kept doing it and doing it, and they have become successful. It is the same thing. I understand that a lot of people have this, I guess, idea of what the world's supposed to be. I just know that if people like something, they're going to buy it regardless of what you think. And there's a lot of things out there that you may not directly support, but it's like I'm not going to hate on it either. If that's what's selling for y'all, cool. It ain't selling for me,
Yeah,
but it's
there
selling for them.
the world
So
has room for a lot of improvement, and a lot of
yeah,
things should be improved, but also you can't be overly Puritan for stuff
nah,
that's just entertainment. Especially if nobody's like, I mean, my whole point is if nobody's getting
hurt by it.
hurt, then there is discussions to be had about how it can be done better or more tasteful, but you don't need to be up in arms for everything.
Nah.
And I was gonna mention that 2B, the Nier character, was in that game because they collaborated, I guess. So the Nier team and this Stellar Blade team
Have
are
some
on
history.
friendly terms and
Gotcha.
have some history. So I don't think, yeah, people should be pitting these games against each other because it don't make sense.
Nah. Okay. Well, that's actually pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie. But
I dropped some screenshots for y'all.
alright, we good, G. But I already can tell what the physics look like, bro. That junk is tragic. Uh, but yeah, that's so funny that you gotta collect them all, man. You gotta see what them. Never
Collect all
mind.
the yams.
Never mind. I'm done. All right, so Ubisoft had decided to ruin their Star Wars Outlaws launch by, I don't know, they gated a game, or not a game, a quest behind a certain purchase. You had to basically buy a certain edition if you wanted to if you wanted to play this mission. And it just sparked a lot of controversy, and nobody's really talking about whether or not the game is good or not, or how good it looks. It's just all about microtransactions and DLC passes and the certain additions they have. The discourse has extremely shifted from a positive to a negative, simply because people are greedy. I don't know if it's like 100% true, but from what I can tell and what they stated as their follow up, which is coming directly from Ubisoft, was that simply, hey, Jabba the Hutt and his people, you're going to be able to play with them. You're going to be able to experience it for all players, but that literally does not entail, that doesn't speak to how does people that pay for it are going to be able to get to it immediately, because that tells me that that mission is not going to be accessible for everybody, but maybe that faction in Jabba the Hutt, you're going to still be able to interact with him in the game itself. So when they tried to clear it up, it didn't really help, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I guess I just feel like they always butcher something before it comes out, and it really is annoying. Because I really think this game looks really good in a lot of ways, and honestly, I was never expecting to. I don't know. This is one of those games that I was going to let play out and see how it goes, because there is a lot of, I don't know. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of these games right now that come out very poorly optimized, don't run well, and if I was to buy it on PC, I would want to make sure that it works well before I went through with the full purchase. And you just got to give these games time most of the time to actually show their true colors. So I wasn't really planning on buying it first day anyway, but it just puts a large dampen on having another Star Wars story, because they most of the time that world is fun to be in and play in, and you
Yeah.
will find like interesting things, but I just feel like they just keep doing the same thing over and over. It's happened with Jedi Survivor, poor optimization at the beginning of the game, so it just ruins the whole the whole experience for everybody. I don't know. It feels a little too on the nose now for this franchise in itself, where like they just ruining it. Whoever they give it to.
Star Wars, we kind of need an open world Star Wars game that's like the perfect universe for that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, with the deals and stuff, we only see one Star Wars game every couple years with one company making it. So we can't even get like different styles of or interpretations on a lot of stuff. That being said, Ubisoft is the worst when it comes to DLC and Battle Pass practices. And this is, just another case of something that they've done before. I personally don't have an issue with them having a battle pass because I come to expect it. But yeah, it's targeting people with FOMO that you might miss out on something that could be really great if you don't pay, double of the normal asking price. Um, that being said, if it's an open world game, then there should be a whole lot of interesting stuff to do
Yeah.
if the game is fun. So I'm okay with just getting the $70 base version, uh, if the game is good. If the game is not good, then I ain't got to worry about the game, the
At all.
content of the game, anyways.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel
Uh,
like that's just crazy that we have to. I mean, obviously, it's been like that for a long time. We have to think like that, but it's crazy.
but yeah, the Ubisoft, they're one of the worst right now. I like a lot of their games, but I will avoid buying them, and I almost will never buy them day one anymore. So even this game, it looks very good, but I really, really have to wait and see because they always will find a way to mess it up. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's their calling card at this point. I really feel like that's just what they do. Um, and I have to blame it on them. It's not nobody else's fault. It's really their fault. I think that there's just a lot of um I don't know, a lot
yeah,
of
they
poor
put themselves
decisions.
in a bad situation over the last generation. Yeah, a lot of bad decisions. Games that are undercooked, underdeveloped, expensive DLC, always online. Then you got to use the UPlay web store for the online. I mean the PC game. So yeah, they made every bad decision, and it kind of just adds up to where nobody likes Ubisoft. But they still make some good games every now and then.
Yeah. And this game being in their plus thing again too. Like that's how I play Avatar like the Frontiers of Pandora. The game wasn't terrible. It just wasn't like interesting. After you get past the technological feat of the game, it just turns into more Far Cry.
Yeah,
So the story, like the world itself, wasn't interesting and engaging enough from the start to really want to explore it and find new things because it was just like not that type of world to be interested in that way. I feel like Star Wars is a world that you can truly have a lot of fun in, but I'm worried that they don't know what they're doing. So I don't know. We'll see. But it was on my radar. It still is on my radar. It just takes down a couple of notches simply because of their antics, and I
yeah, puts it
know,
in the caution category.
yeah,
You can't be too excited for this game because there's a high chance that they can mess it up.
yeah, and this all could have been avoided if with really um a solid plan. But I know these games are hard to make. I know these games are probably expensive to license, especially that Avatar one, especially this one. So I understand them wanting to make their money back, but the way you go about it is to provide meaningful updates, meaningful reasons to go back into the game, and but also have a way for people to have that full fledged package at the beginning, because that is the only way to go about this. Like I have never seen it work any other way, where someone would truly drop a game in a crappy state and people start to come back to it and really enjoy it in a way that it was supposed to be beloved at the beginning. Like this is not rocket science at this point. Is really getting that right. And if every studio and every company and developer doesn't have PR at this point and understanding what the temperature of the community is, I think they're doing themselves a disservice because every game that has come out recently has had some type of a form of controversy around it, and being able to talk to that in a meaningful way makes sense now because everything is judged immediately. Ain't nobody giving you no passes no more. And that's just the way it is. I don't like that part, but nobody gonna give you no pass, and especially if you're trying to gatekeep. Like, who does that? Gatekeep quests. That's crazy. But that's pretty much all I had. I mean, I don't have anything else to kind of talk through. We've been on this for a while, so that's it. With anything else before we wrap it up, fellas? Anything y'all want to add? Say? Did Kendrick drop? No, I don't think he.
I didn't see nothing while we was on the podcast. So we'll see. He might drop one in 30 months.
Oh my goodness.
Like J. Cole said. But no, I'm keep working on Dragon's Dogma. It's fun. It's a very how put it. There are a lot of hurdles or like difficult or uncomfortable parts, but it kind of does make the experience more fun for it. But I'll let you know once I finish it. Other than that, no, just good to hang out with Jalen. Got to catch up with Deontay soon. I haven't seen Deontay in like 2 years because he don't like to do video chat. So I don't know what type of hairstyle he working with. He might have dreads.
Oh my god,
I'll
nothing
catch
too
up with him at some
crazy.
point.
How you know he got dreads? You think it?
No. He said I could.
He guessed right.
Nah, man.
But you do got dreads though.
I don't have dreads though. I don't have none of that. I'm very, 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 very much so PG over here. But yeah. All right, y'all. Well, that's pretty much it. That's the wrap for us. I don't really got much else to say. I want to appreciate y'all, especially if you got to this point of the pod. I want to thank you for sticking around. Definitely, we'll be back with next week with some more stuff to talk about. Hopefully, there's a lot more interesting things going on. Hopefully, maybe, possibly, we get a Kendrick verse, but we'll see. But thank you for listening. Appreciate you as always, and we will talk to you all next time. See you in a week. Peace.